In solo leveling, after Jin-Ho was getting tortured by Hwang Dong-soo and his lackeys in order to find out the truth about his brother's murder, he responded telling them to go fuck themselves, which infuriated Dong-soo, making him slam his head against the steel pillar hard ASF for his answer. The guy in the back warned Dong-soo to be careful since he didn't want to deal with murder just for money. He responded saying he'd be careful of that, and asked if they should get started. The guy in the back questioned if he hadn't found out enough from him already, but Dong-soo responded asking what he was talking about since this was only the beginning. He suddenly noticed something strange out of the corner of his eyes as a shadow soldier stood there just watching. Dong-soo started taking off his jacket as the hunters in the back questioned if a dungeon break had occurred nearby or something. But seeing how the orc was shaking in its boots, they thought he must have been shitting in his pants, seeing Hwang Dong-soo's immaculate aura. He suddenly launched a punch towards the soldier, saying he didn't have time to mess around. And as the orc was about to receive the impact, a command came across its mind which said, "Exchange." Back in Korea, Sung Jin-Woo's mom and sister are chilling on the couch as his mother worried about how he was doing. Baru in the back stated that if there was anything that Drippy-Woo could not withstand, then nobody in this world would be safe from it. The news of Rizzy-Woo's arrival hit Korea, making both Gina and his mother surprised since they could finally see him. Baru suddenly felt a shock of energy course through his being, stating that he had only felt this feeling once before. The king is enraged. Back in Korea, where the Knights Guild can be seen preparing for a dungeon raid, Yoon-tae suddenly gasps while staring at the ground, making the guild master Jong-soo question what was he on about. The terrified Yoon-tae tried to explain that the shadows under his feet suddenly started to tremble, making Jong-soo ask him how many times had he told him not to drink before a raid. Yoon-tae responded shouting that he hadn't had a single drop today and that the shadows really started trembling just now, as if they were alive, but Jong-soo still didn't believe him, telling him he should take a break today. Back in America, as a convoy of vehicles drive through the road, Thomas Andre, the national level hunter, shouts, telling the driver to stop the car, furious about the fact that it had already begun. Andre suddenly kicks the car's door, sending it flying, and jumps down to the highway, shouting that he would be going ahead, commanding them to follow him as fast as they could, crushing the ground and taking a huge leap towards the city. The agents are left dumbfounded and worried about the fact that they're going to be flooded with damage compensation invoices the next day. Hwang Dong-soo suddenly gets a devastating blow to the side of his stomach, making the hunters standing right in front of the scene unable to comprehend the situation. The beaten Yoo Jin-ho sits there smiling since his daddy had finally arrived. The punch hitting him so hard it made him spew blood, launching him across the entire warehouse with minimal difficulty, the one standing strong above all being Sung Drippy-Woo. Diddy-Woo attempted to heal him with a health potion in order for him to recover his injuries, but the system informed him that it was impossible to use healing potions to recover a being's health if it's under 10%, making Drippy-Woo menacingly ask the two hunters next to him if either of them were healers, threatening them to heal Jin-ho right now. One of the hunters nervously responded saying he didn't really understand Korean, but Hwang Dong-soo, recovering from Jin-Woo's blow, translates that he was asking them to heal the guy and asked Drippy-Woo if this was the first time they've met in person. Rizzy-Woo, tired of all the yapping, said that he would only say this one more time, heal him. The healer responded nervously that he should convince his boss first, before he, Drippy-Woo, suddenly grabbed the hunter's face in the fraction of a second, slamming him against a steel pipe. And as he lays there lifeless, the other hunter, scared out of his mind, shouted saying that Dong-soo never said anything about this job being related to Drippy-Woo, as he asked if he was also a healer. He repeated the question to the hunter, but as soon as he responded saying the word no, he slammed his entire body on the ground with immense pressure. Dong-soo walked towards Drippy-Woo, saying it was just as he thought. It was you, the one who killed my brother Hwang Dong-soo. Jin-ho, on the brink of death, called for his papa, telling him that he was Hwang Dong-sook's younger brother, saying he should be careful. Drippy Woo looks back at him, responding that he shouldn't talk anymore since soon he would get his revenge. Dong-soo told Drippy Woo to answer his question, asking if he truly was the one who killed his brother and his teammates. He responded saying to go ask his brother himself, which infuriated Dong-soo for his response, launching a sudden attack with his right fist at full power. But Drippy Woo manages to dodge the attack with ease, quickly counterattacking with a devastating blow to Dong-soo's gut, making him spew blood, which suddenly launched him outside of the factory and crashing into a steel beam. Dong-soo grits his teeth, but without even being able to catch his breath, he quickly looks to his side, seeing Drippy Woo just standing there nonchalantly. Dong-soo tries to go for another attack, lunging at him once more, but considering how slow he was, Drippy Woo raises his hand, slamming his entire face into the beam, and stands over him like he's his big daddy. He raises the hunter's head once again, as loud slams could be heard from the distance, with Drippy Woo relentlessly slamming Dong-soo's head into the ground. Thomas Andre suddenly arrives at the scene, saying to stop right there, telling Dong-soo that he's repeatedly told him not to touch Jin-Woo and asked him if he was still even alive. He responded saying, "For now," making Andre tell him that if he understood English this much, then it would be easier to communicate, saying that if he lets him go right now, he'll let what has happened so far slide. He responded asking what would happen if he were to refuse, making Andre say that if that were the case, then it wouldn't be a request anymore. Rizzy Woo suddenly tossed Dong-soo to the side like a rag, saying it was fine by him, but this is also a part of Dong-soo's plan, stating that Andre was doing great since he wouldn't have a choice but to interfere in this matter, thinking that he just needed to hurry up and kill Sung Jin-Woo in his stead. Both hunters prepare to face off against each other, with Andre asking if maybe he didn't know who he was. But Rizzy Woo, on the brink of crashing out, responded saying it didn't matter. It didn't matter who he is, since he would still get the beating of a lifetime either way. Andre, confused about the situation, thought to himself that even though he knows exactly who he is, he would still try to oppose him like this. The panel switches over to a flashback of his childhood, where it stated that Thomas Andre had grown up in a poor immigrant family which had many enemies. Even though it seemed like he had nothing, he had been granted with an overwhelming talent that surpassed all else: overwhelming violence. He had proved his innate abilities with a countless number of fights, showing him that violence could change the perception of those who felt hostile towards him. And when he finally had gained the power of a hunter, he took the opportunity to finally be proclaimed as a true king, destroying those who got in his way and making those who looked down on him kneel in his presence, meaning he knew how to deal with those who refused to obey him. Andre suddenly extended his hand towards Drippy Woo, saying he should only blame his arrogance for what's about to happen. Hunters from the Scavenger Guild finally arrive at the abandoned factory, getting ready to aid Thomas Andre in his fight against Drippy Woo. But in the fraction of a second, something came flying right past them at terrifying speeds. There stood the national-level hunter Thomas Andre, after getting sent flying by one of Sung Jin-Woo's devastating blows. Hunters of the Scavenger Guild asked if he was all right after receiving such a blow. Angered by what just happened, Andre walks past his guild members getting ready to get his second serving. Drippy Woo summons both Igris and Kaisel, commanding them to take Jin-ho to the nearest hospital and to use any means to make sure he gets treated. As the dragon flies away at full speed, Thomas Andre and every single one of his Scavenger Guild members prepare to go on an all-out war against Sung God-woo and his entire shadow army. Andre couldn't help but smile, saying he would finally get to fight a worthy opponent, thinking that he couldn't care less about Hwang Dong-soo anymore, since there's only one way to redeem his damaged pride: killing that motherfucker. Andre stated that it wasn't too late for him to admit his mistakes and back off, saying that he would at least spare his life if he apologized. But without even a word, Diddy Woo suddenly pulls out his middle finger, basically telling him to go fuck himself. This hit the limit of Andre's patience, shouting that this fucker won't back down till the end, charging up his reinforcement skill, saying that he'll regret not having taken this last chance he had given him. Both armies seemed to be ready to fight. Rizzy Woo orders them to advance, making Andre tell his subordinates to prepare, saying they were coming. A full-on war between the Scavenger Guild and the Shadow Army begins. Tankers rush to the front line, deploying their shields, creating an enormous wall blocking the never-ending onslaught of the undying soldiers. Andre suddenly blitzed into the middle of the army, slaughtering multiple shadows in the fraction of a second. Noticing Tusk towering over him with a shield blocking his way, Andre suddenly crushed the ground, shooting his entire body through the enormous shadow, saying those guys didn't stand a chance against him. Slamming through the factory building's roof, seeing that his subordinates were getting one-sidedly beaten by Drippy Woo's army, a hunter tried to slash him, but he dodges with minimal difficulty, noticing the arrival of Thomas Andre. Hit that follow thing.